Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Yay, how you doing, Obi?
Good,
Good
good,
to
good.
see your face again.
As always, good to see you again too.
It's kind of dark here, but
Yeah, it's
I hope you
okay.
can see me and it's clear.
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you. So let me just do a quick introduction of you. So today I'll be speaking with Alfred Okosun. So he has had quite a very good experience in terms of IT and sales. So he started with sales. Even before then, he actually started working in IT. And then he moved into sales when he joined a multinational organization. And from there, he transitioned into the IT department, where he managed quite a number of us. He was the infrastructure manager at the time and later managed the SFA project, which led Guinness into where they are at the moment. Then he moved, I think he moved to South Africa before then, where he was service delivery manager. He came back, and a couple of years later, he joined other multinational organizations as a senior IT engineer. And now he's in the US, still practicing what he knows how to do best. So thank you so much, boss, Alfred Okosun. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a blessing to have you here today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So today, while I was even, I know we had a discussion about this. That was 3 weeks ago. So, but I'm itching to ask you this question because of the war currently ongoing in Ukraine and Russia, which we're all aware of. And my heart goes to not just to Nigerians because I mean that's my home country, but to other locals, Ghanaians, and the rest of the world, even Ukrainians themselves fighting the war themselves. But the question I want to ask is, especially for those, because some schools, like they complained, especially for the Nigerian students, they said some schools, the schools actually took their passports, right, before they got to, now they are refugees in another country. And these guys, some of them are actually in their third year, some studying medicine, some studying engineering and stuff. So, and now some have actually moved into other countries as refugees. Some are actually going back home to Nigeria, and we know, boss, we know the situation in our country as it stands. So my question is, as undergraduates, right, that have gone 2, 3, 4 years into school, and now the war started, um, what would you say to them? Let's say they want to continue their education. What would be your advice in the sense that how would they transition from studying in the Ukraine, right, and now moving to another country, some in Nigeria, some in Poland, some elsewhere? How, what would you tell them in the sense that how would they transition into continuing their studies, or um, how would they start their life as it stands now? What do you think? What would be your advice to them? Where do you want them? Where do you think they would start from as individuals?
Thank you so much, Obi, and thanks for having me again. It's always exciting to give out from my side. First off, my heart goes out to everyone impacted by the war in Ukraine, and I hope the war can stop soon and families can begin to rebuild. So, looking at how the war is making a shift, not just in Ukraine or between Ukraine and Russia or Europe per se, but across the world. I think if we trace back to when if we trace back to when COVID-19 came up and there was a call for lockdown and movement restriction, that began to shift work ethic, and so consequently started guiding how um, people see careers, how you build careers. I've always advocated that people should look out for careers that they find joy in. So, in simple terms, building up a career or having to go to work as I learned it shouldn't be about work to earn money. It should be about fun so you enjoy what you do. When you enjoy what you do, I'm sure you will do it more. And um, as you do it more, you would get more proficient in it, and you will have more demand in it, and consequently, you'll be paid higher for it. Coming back to that shift in students' movement currently, especially in Europe or in Eastern Europe or Ukraine, for example, students studying in Ukraine has been a great thing, given that it living your space, like for example, Africans moving to Ukraine to study, they don't just build just that functional skills in the field they study in. They also build that cultural skills. So even in leading people, they also build capability to lead on a global front. They have experienced Nigeria, they understand what it plays like being in Ukraine, and so if you put them in a place to lead, they would have a broader view to lead. However, that has been diminished now. That is on the given the war, that has been reduced now. So, where would they start from? I think it would be pointing down to finding something you enjoy doing, for example. It's never too late to start, I'll say. So they can pick up pieces and start up from another school elsewhere. So those who are leaving, for example, at 100 level, 200 level, they've put in significant work to get to where they are. So I expect that they might be able to access transcripts probably when the war subsides, and be able to go back to what they were studying.
Yeah.
But that's one part of the ball. So beyond that, coming back to enjoying what you do, liking what you do, or doing what you like. Let's flip the coin, doing what you like or what you enjoy doing. It then becomes, I think first is even understanding knowing what you like. Some people don't get it yet. Some don't understand what it is. So it will be knowing what they enjoy doing, and then being able to identify it. I'll use the word, being able to frame it, to tell themselves, this is what I enjoy doing. It may have to tie with your personality type or not, but it's just I enjoy doing this. Once they're able to identify that, it gives them a room to want to begin to build. So leaving that war zone and coming out to say where would I start from, they can pick up pieces and continue from where they stopped, either by requesting transcript from the school. Maybe after the war they can get such transcripts and move on to another school. Or some might even want to go back, but I know it's going to take a long time for Ukraine to rebuild the damages. Given that, they want to try and find what they enjoy. And this doesn't go down to just undergrads alone. There are a lot of, I've seen people, I've talked to people, otherwise seen requests even through LinkedIn or other social or formal social platform where people are thinking about making a change from a switching career, for example. I've done this and I struggle with knowing what to do next. Some just where they think IT is selling the most, so I want to move into IT now. Some are saying, well, I think I'm too old for it. I think I'm going to push my kids to take computer science like you. And so I say, if they want to study computer science, it should be that they enjoy it. So if I make the analog I make often, Tiger Woods plays golf, and we all love him. I think we admire him, want to be him. LeBron James plays basketball. We all want to be. We enjoy him. We love how he plays, and we wish we had that capability. But they just enjoy doing what they do. So, for example, Tiger Woods goes on the field, on the pitch, and he hits a ball into a hole, and he gets paid a lot for that. So it didn't go to golf because golf will pay. There are people who plays golf for free. Nobody pays them. If you go to several golf courses, even back in Nigeria or elsewhere, even the US, you find people who struggle to play golf, and they pay to get membership to play golf. So he plays and is paid. I don't think if I play today they'll pay me. So No one will pay to even watch me. Same as Nadal or anyone else. So that's it. So bottom line, I think finding, being able to identify what anyone likes, um, finding the route to that place, and then building one's capability in that space would give you the chance to deliver in that space,
Yeah.
improve your capability in that space, be
Mhm.
recognized in that space, and consequently excel there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that will lead me to my next question, because like I said, so to everyone, Alfred, I've known Alfred like at the beginning of my IT career, straight out of school, right? And up to this time. And like I said in the last video, I'll put the link to that video in the description so you guys can listen to that. So like I said, I was straight out of school. I joined that global organization, and we did a couple of projects under his able management, and a couple of things was assigned to me to do. I mean, just to build me leadership wise. Then when I came to the US, he was the same person that called me that said, "Oh, Bina, this is a new thing, jump into it." And it was part of my plan, right? So that being said, so in terms of people transitioning into, because there's a craze in the world now about IT, and you said it already, even some people want to even move to IT because because they see how successful you've been in the field. Now, there are two sides to this question. The first question is, um, when somebody comes to that point where they say they want to move careers, right? What should be the reasons for that? That's the first question. The second question is, when they move into that career and they see that Alfred is actually excelling, he's a fireball, he's excelling. And they feel it is easy for Alfred because of what he's doing and because of the exploits he's doing there. Now they move into that career and they see that it's not as easy as it should be, right? Now, do they stay, or do they start thinking about going back to what they were good in or good at, or go to the trenches and continue with what they're doing? So those are the two sides of the questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much. So I think if the first one, transitioning and finding a place to transition to, would be around, first, like I mentioned, is this something you enjoy doing? And I think I'll use a quick example. When I
Yeah.
first had at an early stage in my assessment, look, trying moving from one job to another, I think the way the assessor called it was, um, we think your personal. He asked me about my personal values, and he thinks those personal values can connect with the organizational values, and as such, he thinks I would be a good fit for the role. That would be one. Um, but another, so I asked, could he explain better? So I realized part of it was being able to. I think I wanted to solve problems.
Mm.
So when I asked people what would be what's driving you, what do you enjoy doing? Probably I just enjoy talking. I enjoy speaking with people. And what course are you studying? I'm studying to be a librarian. You won't be talking with people in the library. So what's informing the decision? Is it because, well, I also enjoy reading. So maybe having to identify that space where um, where people find what they find doing without effort or with the
Yeah.
least effort.
Yes.
So first was solving problems. So I know I've always looked up to fix problems. We sitting on an outing, for example, and looking to see that everyone is fine, even if it's I were just invited, for example,
Yes.
and something is not working well. It bothers me. So
Yeah.
and so that helped me a lot with service management, with service excellence. So service management wouldn't be only in IT, could be in HR, could be in
Yeah.
sales as well.
Mhm.
And in sales, for example, could be in customer facing sales where you're solving problems for the customers you're facing, you're meeting, the consumers. So those were my drivers, first of all. So finding that I moved first of all from IT into sales.
Yeah.
With the I think with the hope to build my leadership skill, not necessarily functional skills. But I got there and realized I had a lot to learn about the function in sales, and it was more for me about solving problems for customers, and that helped me to excel. So while I was chasing my target, the target wasn't primary in my interaction with the customers. I needed to solve the problems. So at the time, we were selling um, um, Diageo products
Yeah.
to consumers in the north, for example. So where I had Malta Guinness, I want to put forward the benefits. So within the benefit, I need to know what the customers need. So if you need these, how can I help you quickly get it? So I was looking out for ways to take out barriers, and it was fun. Just looking out for ways. It was more thinking on your feet. You're driving in your car and meeting the next customer. We had the last conversation, and they mentioned this need. Plus, I had a personal touch to it, so I could connect with them on a personal level. We could talk beyond just, and then helping me to understand. See, customers have diverse needs. Consumers have diverse needs. I approach each one with their unique needs, and we had a talking point that helped to build relationship, and that helped me excel in sales. So when I was leaving sales, I think people thought, "Why are you leaving sales to IT?" I had to explain to them my move from IT into sales, and I had done just about 2 years or more, and I wanted to move into IT and take
Okay.
that learning with me. So one would be what you enjoy doing. You want to build your capability in that. So you don't enjoy doing work. You can either enjoy giving, you can enjoy helping, you can enjoy fixing, you can enjoy solving, but not the work. That what you enjoy is embedded in the work.
Yeah.
So within that space, I also had to grow my capability in project management. I became PMP certified, started taking on projects as a project manager. I also work with other project managers, provided support to projects as a business analyst. It was more about solving problems for the end user. So when we take a project, whatever we want to deliver needs to be used by somebody.
Mm.
So we need to look for that. Who is that person? What are their needs? And how do we solve them? So we're not giving the project by that person. The project is first of all communicated either by a program manager or even the sponsor. The
Mm.
sponsor of the project tells you the sponsor is not the user.
Mm-hmm.
So the sponsor is going to pay for it for someone else to enjoy. So who is that? Who's going to use it? So that became our focus. And so it then comes to how can I know I enjoy connecting with people to solve problems. I want to see happy faces. It was my driver for service excellence. So or my expectations out of service excellence. So why is this not working? And then that boldness to go along, Diageo just was the fire for it. Diageo was the platform to, hey, be bold in execution. When you want to do it, go for it all the
Yeah.
way. So that helped. That helped a lot. The second question, I don't know if I touched it. You asked a question about. Can you remind me, please?
Yeah. So when they transition into that new career,
Mm-hmm.
now they see that, oh,
Yes, I remember. I remember. So, first off, moving into a career, I think it's a big choice. Often, people don't pay a close attention to all of the details of what that shift could be for them, how it could impact them, not just in their how it can impact their mental state, how it can impact their physical, their resources, the time they would have for themselves, yes, and then what they need to put together to help them run that race. So, um, shifting into a new career, for example, how well do you know about it? I know this person is studied computer science or is good at programming or probably would have done something in that space. It's a broad space. And I assume that the space HR is also broad. So if I say I want to go study HR, what part of HR do I want? I want to study law. What part of law do I want to study? So I might jump into a part which is not very smooth or requires um, skills from an built from an early stage. And why do I say an early stage? I look at programming, for example. Programming requires you in IT. So if programming means that you are coding, and coding means you're writing in a specific language that the computer understands and would translate it to what people would need to use to meet their needs. And so if that's going to happen, people who program often take the time to understand how to manipulate a computer to make it easier for users to use. So there are users who would, there are programs or applications on the computer that you might use and they may be difficult to navigate. And there's some that are a lot easier to navigate, including websites. So programmers who have learned to solve problems for users know how to remove the barriers to navigate a program. For example, SAP, for programs that you work with in an office environment, or even your daily websites. Their website you go to, it's difficult to navigate. Their website you get to, everything is just with like a walkthrough. So it takes a lot for a programmer to understand how to build in that space. So someone moving into programming at a later stage in their career would have many things to contend with beyond just learning how to program. You need to also have the time within 24 hours to put in that work. Now, you need to have the mindset to put in that work. That mindset should not be distorted. So I tell people who are older in their careers and have a lot to worry about, rentals, for example, families, for example, you have too many things to contend with that you have little time to give into programming. So if you're giving an hour into programming, you might be there just 15 minutes. So if you point out to something you enjoy doing, there are many of them within IT. So I've been talking about meeting consumer or user need. Somebody, so a programmer is, whether you program, you're going to meet a user need. Whether you provide administration support to in IT, you're going to meet a user need. Whatever you do, somebody would enjoy the benefit of it. So why don't you look out for something within IT that will fit into either your style and it becomes something you like. So I was programming before. So it takes a lot of sitting down and thinking about the logic, the best logic. There are many logics to putting a program together. So if I have an application or a website, for example, google.com, if I give it to 5 different programmers to give us the face of google.com, they will go through different approach to give us the same result. It will look and feel the same. However, they have used different approaches. When the users start interacting with the website, they begin to see how those approaches differ. Now, if I want to switch my career, then I begin to look out for ways that can help me move with the list. So what was I doing somewhere before? Did I enjoy it? How does it? I used to program before. It takes a lot of time. I sit down and think about the logic, plan it out. You could sit for a whole day and just probably write about a page of programming. And you could, some days when it's easy, you could do a lot more. And then when it comes to testing, and I realize I enjoy being out. My personality style is outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
I want to move outside. So I was more about the place than sitting on one spot and planning. I like to draw learning from the environment and bring it together. So I started doing networking. So then I went in for my Cisco certification. I had to learn about it. And at the time, networking was just evolving. So people were companies, cities were getting connected. So that was the boom for it. I had to go and study for a master's in telecommunication, just so I could build that capability. I wanted to learn more. It was more practical for me than just getting the result, the certificate or the
Yeah.
paperwork out of it.
Yes.
So, and that helped me with that shift. And when I wanted to study PMP, when I wanted to study as a project, build my capability as project manager, I also took the time to study. In the same vein, I'll tell you this: when we're going to do the telephony project, the IP telephony, we were moving from PBX to, I don't know if you were around then,
I remember
we moved
that.
from PBX to
Everything.
IP telephony. I had to take the time to study for it. I went to take a test to pass the test and convince myself that I understood what it was. I took a
Wow.
time to take a private trip to Diageo in Norwalk, Connecticut,
What?
and understudy what they were doing there in the US. I paid for it. And then I came back to Lagos to deliver that project, and it was flawless.
Oh.
Before this time, I had worked with a project manager in American University to deliver this project before joining Diageo. But just by the time I started talking with the mentor, then I realized that there's been a shift between the model in the equipment we were going to use and the one I had worked with someone to deliver. So I didn't feel comfortable. I had the knowledge to lead this. So beyond just buying the books, reading about it, I read first about PBX. At the time, we used a popular one, I think, from Europe. But moving into IP telephony was a big shift.
Mm-hmm.
And the budget was really huge. Let's get it once. Let's get it right once. Let's get it right the first time and reduce the errors. So
Yeah.
beyond just reading for it, I had my certification as I had my CCNA certificate in telephony. I did the same thing when we did the wireless. I had to go study the wireless. I bought the books for it. I took videos for it. I went for training for it, and I paid for all that by myself. The company didn't know. I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask. I needed all that. I wasn't. It wasn't part of the budget and the project. And then I went to take the certification to convince myself that I could, if I were faced in the situation of deploying a wireless connectivity within an enterprise environment, how well can I do it? And that's
Mm.
it. So when folks want to shift, I advise it's something they like. I enjoyed walking around the building. I enjoyed when we had the first connection. It was like magic. Then we work at night. We make sure people go home, and then we turn it around overnight. And then by morning, people are coming in looking all fresh. We are tired and broken. We're tired and worn out, but not broken. And
Yeah.
then when we see them, they use it, and we're excited. The manual to work with the telephony, I did it by Microsoft. We didn't have a budget for it. Immediately, I did it by Microsoft Word.
Mm.
Sent it out for printing, laminated it, and put it on each person's desk. It took us time to understand the steps. If people look through the steps and we're not there, can they understand it themselves and use the new service? And the phones are still there to today. You
Yes.
see that? So moving into IT first or moving into a new career space is this something I enjoyed connecting with the users. I enjoy solving the problems. The PBX telephony we had, they had a lot of problems. PBX is a great tool, but it was getting out of date. It was costing a lot of money to maintain. Why don't we move our telephony into a space where it will run on the same network as our internet? And that was it. And then we delivered it. It became secure as well, so you could make those calls. It saved the company a lot on cost as well. So that was my reward. That was the currency I got paid for. When I see the users enjoy it, for example, in the case of wireless, I see people coming out of the offices to sit in the lobby to work for the first time. Otherwise, there was no lobby to sit on. People stay in the
Yeah.
car park to work, and I'm like, whoa, this is magic. You see that? So what do
Yeah.
people enjoy doing? What do they enjoy doing? Shifting careers. What do you it was. So what would you find fun in when it's completed?
Yes.
Would be it. Whether you're a doctor, you're servicing a customer. Whether you're a lawyer, you're servicing a customer.
Yeah.
So whatever we call the patient or the client or the defendant, those are customers. You're providing a service to them. So whichever you find really, really enjoyable, whichever you
Yeah.
find fun to do. So I've had fun in sales, I've had fun in programming in IT, I've had fun in networking in IT, and then I moved on from IT, from networking in IT into services. Oh, let's make sure the services are top notch. Okay, give us 91% service availability. Make sure the uptime is. We want to drive it. Give us 99%. We will drive it. And it was just fun to see that we can hold the service for a year without having the break. It didn't collapse. The system was collapsing on the background, but we
Yes.
had resilience. We had redundancies that when one of them failed, users didn't know. We get alarms. At the time we got alarms, I used to get alarm on my phone. We got an SMS system that provided notification through SMS that we understand something is wrong in the data center, and then everyone takes off to go. And that was just the fun for it was. So for me, I was having fun and I was being paid having fun. And then I wanted to try something bigger. At some
Yeah.
point, you get tired of it, trust me. I think maybe that might be what we'll be talking. You get tired of doing that thing you enjoy doing. You want to try it and maybe on a bigger scale or look for something else to do.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I wanted something bigger. Why don't we try project management? And that was what got me into studying for project management. Then I already, okay, no, I had not done my Lean Six study at the time. I had not done my Lean Six study at the time. So I wanted to also understand when I heard about Lean Six, okay, how do we reduce waste? I thought about waste as the trash you throw away in the garbage you throw away, or trash you throw away in the office. And I realized that trash may not be even physical, maybe just be other resources and time. Okay, that sounds interesting then. Let's try it. And that got me into the mix of project management
Yeah.
and Lean Six.
Mm-hmm.
So I started in running project. I realized there are resources in time, resources in money. They're going to approve a lot of money for you. There are lots of resources in equipment. All of these are not really. If I were doing a project and I need to rent a forklift or rent several forklifts to move some items,
Yeah.
I'm going to pay for them. What if I want to pay to the customers and their other project managers elsewhere
Yes.
who need to rent from the limited number of suppliers?
Yeah.
So I need to understand how to manage my time so that it, with the constraint of other things I don't control,
Yeah.
it's available for me to use.
Yeah.
You see that, and so that got me into project management, and so I continued on as a project manager. I had to study project management again. I went to take the certification, and I think this will be the 10th year, is it, as a PMP.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I just continue to engage with people in that
Yeah.
space of project management. Go ahead with your question, so I don't take
Yeah.
it over from you.
Yeah. So I remember, and it's good you actually brought in that conversation. So there are two questions, because there was one thing you said where, I mean, if you get tired at this level, how do you move to the next level? Before I ask that question, when PMP, I remember you were the one that told me at the office. We were seated opposite. You were like, Obi, you should learn project management. This is going to my this and look at this and look at that. So join the project management. We did join the project management class with the other students. Some were pilots.
Yeah, I remember.
I met a lot of people. Patience, so if she listens, Patience, I called your name because you're the person I remember. So
Is she on the call? I hope
so
she's watching it.
I probably she doesn't even talk. She will just watch and she won't say anything. Then there's this guy, the guy that taught us the Asiri. I think
Yeah,
it Asiri that taught us. Then there's this other
yeah.
fair lady, forgotten her name. Quite a number of them though. So I remember we came to the class one time, because even at on the job itself, There were certain things that we were doing. I didn't even know it was project management. So when I came to class and he gave us 10 questions to handle, and I saw that it was what I was doing at work at the time. And it was just straight up. And these guys were like, how did you? I became a superstar because I was just joining for the first time. I'm not trying to blow my horns, guys. This is my guy here. So they were confident. So and we were like, oh wow, how did you do this? And then I said, no, it was part of the thing. I didn't know it was what Alfred was telling me to do. This actually did make sense. So, but what I'm asking is, we did a number of projects at the time, hands-on projects and all. So project management of then and today, what has been the difference? What has been, should I say the difference? What has been the improvement from project management of then and today?
And now, okay. Project management has been moving with trends, and those trends are mostly driven by technology, in all fairness. Technology is the one space that drive trends, and it's noticeable. So then there were no AI, or what you call artificial intelligence. Then when we do project, you would carry out what we call a waterfall methodology, where you plan everything ahead. You plan the ending from the beginning and begin to work your way to deliver. So over time, because people started demanding, when technology started evolving and the way programs are developed started changing, and what was required within programs started expanding, and how programs will interconnect within spaces. So what that means, if I were to give an evolution quickly, is I hope we remember that I hope we know that computers didn't start with mouse. So when I had a computer, I didn't have one with mouse, and there was nothing like Windows. It was just a black screen with keyboard, and that was it. It was a big deal unit. I would carry it in my backpack, and it was really huge. And you have to do what you want to see. So now that we can see Zoom, I'm talking from you with you from a computer that's touch screen. We never had that time. So in that same space, as technology evolved, that's how project management responds to such evolution. So not just within technology, but also demand, processes, protocols, mechanisms, as they begin to change in the way governance structure, for example, as they begin to change, project management responded to that. So in that space, for example, in project management, what mattered to project managers then was the scope, the time, or which is the schedule now, and the cost. We'll say STC at that time. And over time, and that was a triangle. So it was more like this, and there was scope, there was time, there was cost. Over time, that moved on to include quality. But today, a lot has changed about project management. So for project managers who had that knowledge and skills, then it became very essential to begin to evolve their knowledge, to begin to grow their knowledge to meet what they have today. So you will see beyond just that waterfall now we now had agile. Or some say agile. And so you see agile processes leading how people deliver projects. So I said initially that there's a method we used then, which was waterfall. So waterfall, within waterfall, the project manager will plan from the beginning to the end before he gets approval to start the project. Today, he just needs to understand that there's a big project. However, he finds a way to take that big project, if for example that was a boulder, and break it into small parts that teams can handle. And then it gets the team. And this works nicely with, for example, software projects. So a bank is going to deliver a service through software. So what do they want to deliver? We understand what the scope is, and then begin to, instead of taking the whole project and planning it end to end, you take a portion. We understand that users need a portal to log onto. Let's design the logon page first. They will design it. And when they design that logon page, they will test it several times. They will carry out several types of tests on it, including intrusion. How can it be broken? What can happen to break this? And after testing that, they go ahead
Yeah.
and show it to the customer. Do you like this? And they can deploy it. You can have a website that, so some of the time I'll show you there are times you log on to Google Mail or google.com and you realize something has changed from the way it used to look like yesterday, just yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to bed, I log on to my Yahoo Mail and I see something has changed.
Yeah.
There are teams that are still working on such big platforms today as we speak. They're not just working just because they want to work. They continue to understand what the users, or continue to try to understand what users need.
Yeah.
So at what point would they stop working? They continue to work every day. So project managers who work in agile spaces, their project spans long time. Whereas in waterfall, or what we used to know then, you will work, it will tell you your project will run within 1 year or 6 months or 8 months. It's hard to find a project in waterfall that runs for 10 years. Because that time span is too long. So instead, what the sponsor would do would say, okay, break it into a year or 2 years max or 18 months and let's go. Because you have to tell me what you want to do at the end and you follow through. If anything is going to change, I must approve it. So whatever you want to do from now to the end of it, what it will look like, put it in writing for me in your planning. And then let me see it. I would approve it. And you go ahead. If something changes, I will have to review that change and see if I should approve it or not, as long as it's outside of the scope.
Yeah.
With Agile, you can have it running for 20 years and this just continues. So people at Google, they have project managers at Google today who continue to evolve how you use your Google Mail based on what you want to see. So sometimes you see they put out surveys on platforms to say, what would you like to change or how do you like to use Google? But beyond that today, with AI or artificial intelligence, it uses mechanisms to predict. What that mechanism is it looks at data, accumulation of data. How often do users click on something and click on another thing? And when they follow your clicker, they know what you do first and next. Okay, if they can put those things close by each other, maybe that will work. And they will analyze all of those clicks many times in a scattered plot to see how many users, not just one person, but many users, especially in a region, and then see what works for them. And then they would build that. So project management today is shifting away from that big know what's happening at the end to what we can do now and let the user have some user demand is high. I need to access my mails now. I need something to change now. So let's quickly solve that one problem. So if there were nothing before, we'll be creating it in part. As soon as we go live, we'll continue to evolve. So there are times if I use GT Bank platform, for example, GT Bank is Guaranteed Trust Bank in Nigeria. And there was a time you could log on to your email and need a token. And later on, they say, oh, don't worry, if you don't have a token, you can log on using your mobile phone. You see, those are changes that they bring on the go. The GTB website platform or portal did not go down. What they do is that they can, as a project manager, you can plan for that redundancy so that while users are working, you can make a shift and they will never know. And that comes to how you deliver to people. So even as a project manager, at the end of the day, you want to offer services that users can enjoy. How then would you do that? You see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So there's you remember Idris? I remember
Yeah.
Ademola. So if I even ask you the next question, this is just a personal question, and because you said
Yes,
something,
yes.
yeah, I didn't even know that you actually. I'm sorry that I'm bringing you back one step. So I didn't even know that you actually traveled to go study for projects that you were supposed to handle. I never knew that. Even though we were sitting opposite each other, I never knew.
It was just around the Hurricane Sandy or so. So I got there and there was the hurricane.
Wow.
Yeah. We had the time to study it, and then when the flights resumed again, I was on the visit. I just took the time out on my vacation to go, and I wanted to see what it was and how they did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you traveled for vacation, but I didn't even know that. When
and
you
that was
come
the
back,
purpose.
I didn't. Oh, we'll be asking for his socks and the rest of them. We didn't even know.
And chocolates.
so my question is, oh my God, I feel ashamed now. So my question is, you had, like, because it was Ademola just asked the question, you had a number of great guys that worked under you, great, awesome guys, Ademola,
The best team ever. The best team ever. The best team ever.
I mean, there were guys even from, I don't know. So, I mean, even the guy, there was one guy in the UK, what's his name again? The Nigerian guy.
James Obert.
Yeah.
We spoke a couple of days ago.
Yeah, he will call anytime and he will be there. There was Yomi Shoge, who was
Babajide
Ujaye. So great minds that you could call up at any time and something will happen. So my question is, and I need people to listen to this because there's a lot to learn from this. So are you saying that, and this is a question somehow, so are you saying that even though you had the great minds around you at the time, why did you need to now go study and pay huge sums if you know that you wanted something to happen? You just needed to say the word and somehow the result will come out from these guys, right? And
in fact,
you needed to go pay money to study and still come back to work with us.
In fact, everyone had the great delivery. Without Ademola, I would have struggled with the network. But that wasn't telephony.
Yeah.
Without Nii, I would have struggled with telephony. But that wasn't IP telephony.
Mm-hmm.
I repeat again. Without Demola, Demola was my pointer, was my sniper when it comes to during war, was my sniper or my most effective machine when it comes to the network. And we had fibers that were failing at the time. We had the network at the time was probably about 25 years old or what, or very old at the time. They were copper cables within the building, large expanse. You know how big it is. Ogba, for example, into Ikeja, into Benin, into Aba. Now they were copper cables that were either old. If you shift a desktop, for example, it could pull a cable and break the copper within the conduit. Mm-hmm. Now there were fibers as well that either we had lost access to. Physical access, not just even logical, physical access to. Things have changed. Data has been transferred across hands, and we don't have maybe sufficient records, or some have been damaged. And we're looking for, otherwise the topology then did not work well. It didn't offer much redundancy. So with changes in structure, for example, remember there were times that we will hear the construction on the road and the truck or bulldozer where they're walking on the road, they cut off a fiber cable.
Yeah, I remember that
connecting
time.
Another side, and then another side is not, the whole side is not working.
Yes.
You know how, so all of that. I had a Demola, for example, and that was my Shaw. I'll use the recent work. That was my Shaw plug. That was my Shaw plug. That was my last line. If it wasn't working, I wouldn't. If it wasn't working and he cannot fix it, I need to worry for us. For Nii, it was the telephony champion, but I wasn't comfortable with what we had collectively in terms of IPT. So we brought in Chuba, for example, who knew about IPT, but not enough within the vendor we're moving to. We're moving to a Cisco environment, and these guys have worked with something else, some other vendors. So why it's easy to say, well, they use about the same command in configuring the central um, controllers.
Yeah.
What if we find something new? What if we need to deliver something different for the users? And so the project can go south by that, for example. Number two is, I think it will work well if you, even if you are with a lot of cooks, but you feel comfortable to know that you have control with how the soup will cook.
Yeah.
So there's just a school of cooks, for example, but I don't we don't get to a point and someone is stuck between, do we get the onion sliced or we have them diced? In the same way, you want it, so in a nutshell, you want to have you want to be, I don't want to use the word control. I'm trying to avoid using that. Not necessarily having control, but it's a good thing to have control. To have control is that to be everything which is within, not control of people, control of what you're doing. So that it
Yeah.
doesn't. There were the nights we worked on a project. We thought, for example, before going into it, we did the data center revamp. We thought we could start on the Friday evening, and by Monday we'll be fine. And
Mhm.
Friday evening, we started at about 8 p.m. Saturday, we had worked our fingers from the Friday night into Saturday, slept barely, woke up we worked until 7 a.m., had asked people to get breakfast within the office, and we continued about 10 again and worked till Sunday. By Sunday, we were getting tired now. I wasn't showing it. I kept pushing Demola, who was also pushing the other guys. Let's go, but they were breaking down. We called for more support. By Monday morning, we had only done about 60% of the entire building.
Yeah.
The sad part was that the 40% remaining was the loudest one. HRO had no access. So what were we going to explain? The MD, the CEO had no access. What were we going to explain? What was our excuse? But without these guys, it would have been impossible. Then without
Yeah.
the knowledge, you just may not have enough confidence to want to drive it. Some of the times you want to be sure of what you're doing. You want to just that confidence first of all. So when people are shifting career, if I bring it back to our topic, when people are shifting career, I think building their knowledge in that space is big. And if I were to go ahead and answer this and answer what you didn't ask was, people shifting career, how much should they build within? How much of their knowledge should they build? Knowledge is not just about reading or
Mhm.
taking the learning in a structured physical environment. That learning can also come within the space of hands-on. So hands-on would be I take some internship, I try it out somewhere. So I see a lot of people who want to either study as a project manager, but they work in places that offer them no opportunity to
Mm.
learn about project management. So they go, they study about project management, they even take a certification and they're certified. They're certified as a project manager. They wish to work as a project manager. Well, they're certified first of all. I think some of them probably out of the the fear of I may not get a job with what I know now, so maybe I should just go into project management. I hear that's the one that's reigning now. That's the career, that's the job. So
Yeah.
don't jump on the job, jump on what you like and you would enjoy it. So I've used a lot of project management. I'll tell you today, there are a lot of given how technology has influenced how we communicate, a lot of people have uh, behavioral mental needs.
Mhm.
Yes. So mental support, emotional support. And
Yeah.
that brings people into the space to say, well, do I enjoy supporting people or providing support to people in this space? So I have a friend who have asked if I visit my LinkedIn page every time. When someone views your LinkedIn page, you see this person, your LinkedIn page was viewed by one person, and you always go and I see him. So he's asked me, what study did I take? I said, my most recent one, at the time, not now,
Mhm.
was I took a study I took an MBA because I wanted to understand something about management. You see, I've done the PMP to So I took an MBA to understand about management. He said, "What school?" And I gave him the school. And he called me and said he's already started the program late months later. And now he has finished the program. I said, fantastic. So probably you can get a job where where it offers you the chance to use the skills you learned in the program. The MBA is a master's. MBA is a master's in business administration. And he called again. He wants to take the PMP. I said, okay, that's a good one. At least I can work as a project manager. There are a lot of demand for project managers now in Canada, and I see that. Okay, and he went and studied for the PMP. He's a project manager now. And so he called me again about a couple of weeks ago, and he said he wants to do the Scrum Master. I know you have a Scrum Master. I want to do the Scrum Master.
Is that do I assume that this is a competition?
No.
Okay.
Why do you want to do it? Because I can have that skill, so that I can. So which one should I do? And I said no. You're not working even. You're working as a caregiver.
So,
You're not building your capability as a project manager. Number one. Number two is if you take all of this certification, for example, and you don't know how to do it, one, you don't enjoy doing it. Two, can be a barrier for your success. So you don't know how to do it, will be challenging for you to work, to grow your career. You don't enjoy doing it, will be stressful for you to remain in that career.
That's true.
You see that? So why don't you, before you take those exams, try. So I don't program anymore. At least for when I'm talking to programmers or when I'm managing project that has to do with programming, I understand what they do. Right? I don't run cables in buildings anymore. I don't use my Cisco certification either as a network associate, wireless administrator, or telephony. I don't use any of that anymore. But when I have to manage that, I will understand how it works, right? Yes. So there's not so much time every day and in life. Every day is just 24 hours, and the rest of life is not more than 100 years, which we're already spending. So why don't you grow your capability in one of them and find the one you love? So, for example, I would have done something in behavioral analysis and child psychology if I enjoy that. It just doesn't have to be project management. You see that? It doesn't have to be project management. It can be anything, but it has to be something you enjoy, so it becomes fluid for you to ride. And growing your capability in that space becomes a lot easier for you to continue to sustain it. You see that?
Yeah.
So so for folks who build their capability within a particular space, I would say, why don't you find a job, even if it's an internship, even if it's for 4 hours. I went to Norway, for example, because I wanted to learn. I wanted to see it. Show me how you do it on ground. I've read about it. I've imagined it in my head, but I want to see how you would do this here.
Yeah.
And I took that learning back home. So why don't you grow your capability in that space? And trust me, in another 10 years, careers that are that would be highly demanded for. Psychology is one of them. I know medicine and nursing is one of them, given the global changes that we see created first by COVID-19 and then shortage in skilled professional population or shrinking skilled professionals population across geographical locations. I see all that. But beyond that, psychology is one of them. And within psychology, I tell you, there's guidance and counseling. In the city where we live now, how they described in this city is that there's a drought of skilled professionals. And when they were describing this, it's even in education. I understand in the UK they struggle with teachers today. Yes, teachers. And they pay very well. They struggle with with and those teachers are not just because well I studied education. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy giving back. So I see a lot of people who, for example, in Lagos today, they enjoy giving back. You see them. There was someone, we had a talk. When I did a talk show. I was hosted on a talk show, and some months later, I saw he started a platform where he's training people, and he's doing that, and that's beautiful. And then, beyond just what you like, what would the big future look like? Is something I learned later on for you. I wanted to drive what I do on a global scale.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just did. So moving to South Africa, for example, was me
Yeah.
calling out that I need to build a cross-cultural capability. I didn't ask for it, but the way we'll do our P4G then, what would you like to do next? What would you like to learn next? I didn't say I want to learn project management. I just want to learn about other cultures
Mm.
and see how I can know about it. Now I know this technical thing. I want to be able to work with somebody outside of Lagos
Mm.
and outside of Nigeria. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to be able to send a mail to them. I want to challenge what they do. I want them to challenge what I do, and I would understand what the challenge is and what it means and how I should fix it. And when I deliver, what success means to them in that culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
show you when Babajide and I were talking, and then the guys in Seychelles were discussing. In Seychelles, you don't. The summer is golden. Seychelles is just an island, so you by the ocean. You can't let summer waste away. So when we spend the night or the entire weekend in the office, in the Ajo,
Mm-hmm.
the Friday into Saturday into Sunday, that's somebody's life in Seychelles. He needs to be with his family by the ocean side. So if I don't understand that, I begin to put a lot of pressure on that person and think he's not delivering. That's
Mm-hmm.
all he has known all his life. So if I know this, how do I plan within his availability so I can deliver brilliantly? So I don't begin to move my work to the weekend thinking it works for everybody.
Yeah.
Coming back to that person who's giving who took learning from a talk show I did and is giving he began to offer training. He started with offering training in Microsoft Excel,
Wow.
Microsoft Word. He has a training institute now. I'm in shock.
Wow.
I'm in
Wow.
shock. He's teaching people how to use Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint. Yes. It's just that's simple things. Simple
Oh,
things.
yeah, that's
It's
that.
there on Facebook. And he has a big population of followers, and he's doing fine. I don't have his contact. I can look out for him,
Yeah.
but he's doing very. I saw him the last time he showed me, tried to show me the product. There's another one too who is who moved into agriculture processing. I think his field in his bachelor's degree is in agriculture, so he just loved it. And over time, he started buying to process. So he goes to the villages, the rural areas, and he buys and he processes and he brings it home. I think I was talking with someone the other day and he was asking, he's looking for machine that can work within a house he lives in. So it should generate less vibration and be able to package. So they process by hand in a clean environment and he wants to package it in his house. And people are packaging little things that they process, either as dried fruits, you have dried coconuts, dried pineapples. They used to ship that to Lagos. Today they are packaging it in Lagos. Trust
Mm.
me. It has its NAFDAC registration. It's just something he enjoys doing. It's not a project manager, it's not a programmer.
Mm.
But he's employed, I can tell you, he's employed up to 10 people.
Wow.
Yeah. That the person I don't remember, it was in that class with you in the PMP class.
Really?
Yes. I can see the face, but I don't remember the name. I'll look out for him.
Okay. Are you sure it's not Emmanuel? Is it Emmanuel?
I don't remember the name. I don't remember, but he just loved agriculture. He talked passionately about it. Okay, good. It's they ship they package now and they sell in stores like Spar in Lagos,
Wow.
He was asking if I know someone in ShopRite so they can speak to the person. I had a friend then. I gave them the contact. So they're looking for channels to sell now. Yeah. So it's just something, it may not be, so you see something about, you may not earn the biggest salary, but you just be comfortable. There are people who earn about $1 million and they don't live the same quality of life as those who earn $100,000.
That's true.
So,
That's
but
very
that happiness actually is part of your reward. So reward again is not just, reward, what you get out is not necessarily the money or the currency.
yeah.
Satisfaction is part of it.
That's true.
And that may be the fuel to get people going. So I was saying something about behavioral science, for example, behavior analysis, for example. They're all branches of psychology. Guidance and counseling, for example, family relationship guidance. Those are roles that are springing up now. Just the same way we didn't have anything like florist. We know people, we knew gardeners, and today we have florists. We
That's true.
knew secretaries, and now they're PAs or something.
Mm-hmm.
We knew tailors, and now it's fashion designers.
Fashion designers.
We knew carpenters, and today they are what they call them. I don't know. So there are rules that are springing up now, especially as people begin to struggle with behaviors from children, from childhood into adulthood. So that person who loves to take care of children. Oh, I had a cousin who had special needs or who had challenging behaviors. Whenever I always love to go, whenever I'm on holiday, I love. That's something you're passionate about. If it's something you dream to further progress, how about learning how to professionally support such behaviors?
Mm-hmm.
So you have certifications in that space. There's a board certified behavior analyst. Now, as a behavior analysis, there's a certification as a board certified behavior analyst. And they pay very well. Some earn up to $70 per hour. Some earn up to $120,000 a year.
Yeah. 6 figures.
Yes. They earn 6 figures. Very well. Very comfortably. And that is because they only work 9 to 5. When they consult for you, they earn as much as 100 to 200 per hour, just for a private consultation. If they work on the weekend or extra hours, they will earn more. So what are we waiting for? So switching careers may not necessarily be into switching into IT, project management. It's just a broad spectrum.
Yes.
But what leads you in that spectrum is what you enjoy doing as a way to find fun at work. You know how
Yeah.
it is when we work then. It was always
Yeah.
fun. It was
So one man, he was enjoying it. It was enjoying. It was tasking, but it was enjoying. I must tell you.
it was tasking. You see, that's it. That's the word. So it
Yeah.
get tasking, and then you just see that you it's something that's fun.
Yeah, that's true.
It's something that's fun. It's something that's fun. You're gonna love it. Trust me.
That's true. And
You're
and
gonna
and
love it.
I know we've exceeded our 1 hour, but I just have 2 more questions. One is from Demola, but before I ask Demola's question, one last question for me.
I missed him a lot. I think I'll try to call him after this call. I just
Yeah,
keep missing it.
yeah. We've speaking. It's been putting things. When you were saying some things, you put some things, and I'll collaborate it with what you're saying. And yeah, that's you were saying actually say the same thing. Saying, but one question is, so when you get tired at a level, right, and you're moving to another level, you said something like that. There was a way you put it. So that transition from moving from one level to another higher level, not really changing careers now, but from one level to a higher level. What is the process like? All right.
What is the movement like, or what is the place like, or the thinking?
Yeah, what's the movement like? What's the process like? What's the thinking like? What's the thought like?
Okay, I think there's something about maybe if I'm allowed to use the word satiation. Satiation is more like how we say it in pidgin English. I don't belly full. It's not like you're tired. I've had enough here, and I think my next drive is to try something new. You see, so where that leads you then becomes what would still not losing focus on what you enjoy doing. Remember, I talked about, for me, it was about solving problems for people, and those people always. So I had to, if I when I get in there, I had to identify who those people are. First of all, in sales was the distributors and the retailers.
Yes.
I wanted to understand their pains, and the pains were diverse. So from either poor communication, we sent a mail or we sent a message and nobody picks it up, or when we raise our orders, they don't come on time. And in which case, the orders are not coming on time, nobody tells us what's happening.
Yeah.
So you could find where all of that comes in. So if I come to um, that movement, that wanting to try something new, it will be that even from the beginning,
Yeah.
when I get to work in a role, I think then I was just too ambitious. When I'm asked, when Tony, I think Tony Adeomi have asked me one time before, or when most often Yomi would ask me, so in this your role now, what do you think? When do you think you'll be ready to move to the next role? I said 12 months. Say no, maybe you should do 18 months or 24 months. And I say why? So that you can consolidate. I just feel there's no time. So give me the next one. So and and you see that wanting to try something new would be, well, I've done this. So from the beginning, I try to set that, not the expectations per se, but well, expectations to myself, but I try to set the target.
Yeah.
How long will I do this before I get tired? And that doesn't come from just mere guesses. I could ask people who have done it before. When I left Diageo and I joined PZ, the person I
Mm.
replaced, PZ Cousins, the person I replaced had been on that role for 20 years. And I had one question for him. How did you cope? I wouldn't have done this for 3, 4 years. I'll be tired. I want something new. Otherwise, it becomes stereotype. It becomes a repetition. So I need something new, unless there's something new. So being in Diageo IT from 2010 and then moving to South Africa, still within IT, but a different culture. When I say South Africa, Southern Africa, because although I lived in Cape Town, I covered Mozambique, Angola, and South Africa. All
Yeah.
right. Mozambique, they don't speak English. They speak Portuguese or Portuguese. Same as
Mhm.
Angola. South Africa, you find English and Afrikaans. That created that mental shift for me as something new, because first I had the challenge of conquering that culture shift.
Yeah.
So even though it wasn't learning the new technical skills, it was growing a leadership capability to function there. That was one for me. So within 2 years, we're doing infrastructure. At some point, it wasn't the job wasn't overwhelming. It was difficult to work, but I didn't feel. I just felt it was. I've done this and I'm doing it again. Let's try something new. So moving to South Africa was different. We're building a new factory in Mozambique, for example, in Maraquin. We're building something new in Angola, for example. We're just starting a new office in Cape Town and building something in Johannesburg. And that was a new experience. Finishing that and coming back to Lagos to do something like SFA. Remember SFA?
I remember
Salesforce
Sophie.
Automation.
Yeah.
It was a different ball game entirely. So when someone asks how you stayed in Diageo for nearly 10 years, I didn't even think I was there for 10 years, because every 2 years was a shift.
Yeah.
You see that? So at what point would you then decide that you want to shift? Will be your personal drive, not my roadmap.
Yeah.
I know at some point this would look like repetition. I always wanted to learn something new. So if you want to use the word innovate, I always love innovation. I like to get in, and Demola would remember we want to try something new. Well, this is the way they used to do it. Why don't we do it differently? Just for fun. I want to try it, and let's try it. We'll go back to your me and no, Alfred, don't break it, don't spoil it. And we thought if we do it like this and do it like this, this will be easier. So rather than taking 20 steps, we've removed 12 steps to get just 8 steps. Remember when we would host meetings? We want to have meetings in Ogba and in Benin and
Abba.
Abat concurrently, and now we want to try it. And the next time we're thinking what didn't work well, what do we innovate? It was just that for me, and that was my own roadmap. It was just something I loved, and when I get to a point of satiation, I want to try something new. Let's try something new. So the thinking was more about knowing when it was time to play and when it was time to go to leave
That's true.
and try something new. That's it. And then what that something new would be, is this still something I enjoy? So look at how it is from sales into infrastructure in IT, from
Yeah.
infrastructure into service management in IT, from service management into project management, even though you had some part of IT with it. So you could say technical project management. And from there, even into business analysis. So what was driving all that? It's just, well, let's try something new. And then we're scaling it, we're doing it upward.
Mhm.
It's not because the project manager is bigger than the infrastructure. No. Within the infrastructure, we're working within the infrastructure, we're supporting the infrastructure in Nigeria. How about if I do a project and it will support people within a small space, but the expectations are big?
Mhm.
The project cost is big, so the responsibility is big, is large. How about that? And let's see if we'll fail or we'll die in it. Let's try. And then we'll go and learn how we can get along through it so that we don't die. So even though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we know how to navigate it so that we will not fall.
Yeah.
Yes. So we take our equipment, our knowledge, our skills, our resources with us, and we'll walk through that valley. So what we used to be, you remember then there would be tension in the office, but we just get on and let's do it, and we can be focused on it. We don't even go home when we don't have a closing time or a resumption time.
Never
I could
did.
call Demola at 1 but Demola will call me at 1 a.m. and say, did I see that there's a switch in the cage that has gone off? But it's easy to see this 1 a.m. who is there. They are dispatching at that time. The road is free between Ogba and Ikeja, and they want to move as much um, materials, production materials, as quickly as possible. Now it is stalled. So there were the days the ambulance would come and pick us from home because that was the only safe way to move at that time of the day or at that time of the night. And that was the fun. At some point, I felt I've had enough fun dancing this dance. Let's try a new dance. Let's try a new dance. Let's try a new dance step. And that's just it. So within project management now, it is looking very fulfilling. And I'm trying something new. I told you I was doing something in this entrepreneurship, and we're trying
Yeah.
something new. We're building some app, and we're doing AI as well. And very soon, with this summer, I think we're going to launch something. And when we
Wow.
do, we want to just try something new for the sake of it. You don't know
Yeah.
if you fall, and what if you don't fall? So for those who for those who want to try something new, they should be bold enough first to see that they enjoy it, and then two, grow their capability within it by reading about it. There are lots of free materials, resources in YouTube. It's just to search by the name. I tell people that I'll break it down again. People who take IELTS test and they say, "Well, I had 6.5. I had they're free, and I paid for lectures. I paid someone to teach me." I think part of the time is the limited resources might be affecting how people get information. So when I started studying, when I did the IELTS, I had the score. The scores which you can score is from 0 to 9.
Mine, yeah.
I had a 9. So the 9 means that you're going to a 4 part: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So I went into the listening. I had a 9. The listening I had a 9. They do the speaking first. I had a 9. So what was leading this? I went on YouTube and searched for, and I looked at how many people have viewed those materials I want to learn with. Same thing as Amazon, AWS. When I took the AWS, I know in fact, thank God, I'm very excited that you took the AWS stance and you are running pretty fine with it. You shattered that ceiling. You're my reference. When I'm talking with Sunday, for example, you told me he called you. I said, run to this place. That's where you find help. Just run. That's the standard. Obina is the standard now when it comes to AWS. So just run there. When I started, I looked at administration, for example. It was exciting and it's much what we do in the data center. So it was an easy ride. And then I moved on to take my training in AI as well. And it was a good one. It was paid for, by the way. Some company paid for it. And why I took that learning was because of what I wanted to do. I did deep racing. And I wanted to do something with AI and machine learning in my new project. You see that? So that's just what's driving me. So very soon, maybe I would not be talking much about project management, but something new. But still, I take the skills and the learning with me. The most important part is the experience we are sharing today. The new experience that we're sharing today, and which is all the fun part. We can remember it, and it's a lot satisfying. That's it. So that's the you from yesterday and today, and how to move it into tomorrow. So the rewards there is just that excitement. That how did it look like when we did this and all that. The memories, it's rewarding. Trust me.
Yeah. I would have said if you have a last word, but the thing is, this is the plan was, you started the career talk this month, and by the grace of God, I'm begging that hopefully next month, the first week of next month, I'm saying it to everybody now listening, that hopefully by the grace of God, the first week of next month, that you would grace us with your presence again, because we have a lot to ask.
Then we go full blast project management.
Yeah.
For those who have interest in it.
Yeah, we'll go straight into that conversation the first week of next month. But the final question here is, probably you would advise us in the next meeting. Well, the final question here is from Demola. He said, how are you coping with family, working? How are you coping with working, family, and running your PhD program in a different environment and country? I didn't even know you were running a PhD program.
It is crazy. It is crazy. Well, it all adds up to fun, being with a unique family is also another important one. So while I'm doing this too, my wife is schooling us, so she finishes a behavioral specialist now. So what you say, board certified behavior analyst. So everyone is just working and busy. But I think primarily for me, I'm just find that life is too hard for you not to find a happy spot. The happy spot does not need to be cold. So I ask some people, what do you do when you're happy? So I just stay on my own. It doesn't have to be cold.
Yeah.
It can be bubbling.
Yeah.
You see that it can be exciting. And such persons, unless they enjoy, it's just, so if I'm on my own, I just stay alone, I probably could learn something new that would be exciting. I could learn from anywhere. I could learn even from the mediums around me. So while I can go on Instagram and be there often, I can learn from YouTube as well. There are lots of materials. I was watching Maya Tafo. Maya was in Tim Brand Guinness team. Is now the owner of Maya Tafo. Yeah. And you see, Maya will tell you about YouTube and how provide resources. Same thing as TY Bello. We met at Benin Airport. I was, oh my God, I'm excited to see a superstar like you. As simple as she is, how did you learn to do what you do? It says, in all fairness, most part have been on YouTube. Photography, how to use a Canon camera, for example, what to choose, how to choose, all of that. How much of that digital space within the computer space are we using? How much of that? So some people could spend a lot of time trolling others on social media, and when they're tired, so it's just, what do you enjoy doing first of all? when they're tired, they don't know what to do, Netflix and chill. And then, so within that space, I have my Udemy here. So my AWS administrator was on Udemy.
Mm-hmm.
After taking, because I had the practical knowledge of what it is, I
Mm-hmm.
had to take the learning on Udemy. I did it on my mobile phone, not even on the computer. So I could get the video play, and then when I want to try, I come on my computer and log onto my AWS profile and then test some things and then go back. And when it comes to exam, it's fine. So within play, just like they just say, you work-life balance and all that.
Yeah.
So I find the time also to clear my mind and find happiness and hope that one day, I believe this will slow down. So after all
Hopefully.
of this now, after
Hopefully.
I had to defend my thesis before the board last week of the school
Yeah.
at
Oh, wow.
Sprout Business School, and it was it was it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was just fun. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. I see the big result in the ahead of me, ahead right in front of me.
Yeah.
I see the big, so that big result, that goal, that dream we want to see. See Demola where he is today. He had that big goal in mind, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to build this. Look at yourself. I want to learn this. I want to build this. And that goal, what's driving you first? Part of it is that goal. I see the end of it is bright, so we
That's
won't
true.
stop.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So that's how I've coped with family and all the pressures. But
Oh,
thank you
man.
so much for having me. Thank you to
Thank you.
everyone who joined and
Thank
those
you.
who's going to watch it later on.
Thank you so
I hope you
much.
find it interesting.
Yeah, it
But
is.
the
It is.
next class is going to be more functional. We're going to do more project management. And
Okay,
within the hour, we can have a good overview of what project management is
all about. Yeah.
that can spur someone to try and take a
Yeah.
learning in
Yeah.
project. Why project management, if you ask? Just because it cuts across anything. As you can be a project manager in medicine, within the medical space, you can be a project manager in finance space. For example, there are lots of financial technology, or what you call fintech today,
Yeah.
projects going on, and they need project managers who understand that space. So someone who with experience in the banking sector as well can
Yeah.
leverage that experience, technical experience, on the top of project management skill to
Yeah.
excel in that space. That's
Yeah.
it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to some of the guys that I see here. I see Idris Tohib, I see Yusuf Ademola, and I see Nat Big. I don't know who that is. Maybe Alfred knows him, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I see them. So thank you so much, Alfred. Some of the things that I learned here is the drivers to moving from one point to the other should be your passion, should be what you love, what you enjoy
Mhm.
doing, not necessarily about the money, but it should be about the value that you're going to add there. So that's one of the big things that I learned from this discussion today. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to have you come on this platform to talk about PM when next we talk. So thank you so much, Ross. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you.
You have a
Thank you.
good one.
You too, boss.
Alrighty.